Hello, I'm Jordan Canavari, and this is my presentation on Sharon Wyeth. So, growing up, she grew up in the Washington, D.C. school system, and she then went on to Harvard, where she graduated cum laude with degrees in sociology, psychology, and anthropology. And then she went on to get her master's in creative writing, and to this day, as well as writing children's books, she does lots of public speaking at different conferences and schools around the country. And this is a picture of when she came to Hiram last year. Not last year, but a couple years ago for a talk. And these are some of her books. She typically writes about African Americans and different lifestyles. So in Freedom's Wings, she wrote about the Underground Railroad in the form of a diary, and my grandmother's granddaughter's necklace, she writes about a necklace that's passed down from generation to generation through the women of the family. And in Orphea Proud is a book in an odd format, but it's a more young adult book as opposed to children's literature, where it involves according to the Encyclopedia of Contemporary LGBTQ Literature of the United States, is the first book to feature a lesbian of color as the main antagonist of the story. And when she came to Hiram, she said that she identifies with the African American race, especially because she's often mistaken for white because of her light skin color. And so she heavily researches the African American culture in order to feel more identified with it. And the book I'm specifically going to talk about is Something Beautiful, which involves a young girl who lives in the inner city in a sort of rough neighborhood. And she goes person to person asking what something beautiful they have in their life. And then that inspires her to go home at the end of the story and clean up her house and scrub the word die off of her door and try to make her home a little more beautiful. And Sharon Wyeth contributes to diversity because she represents African Americans in all of her books. And then Orphea Proud, she talks about LGBTQ, with the main character being a lesbian. And she writes books that are set in the city, which is different than a lot of other children's books that are set in like a very idealistic lifestyle. And so it allows children that don't live that idealistic lifestyle to see themselves represented in books and see that they're really the ones that are normal, not, well, that everyone is normal, not just the idealistic lifestyles, that everyone's living different lives and every life is different, but is still worth living.